When you fall to 144 in the draft and then try to match that number behind the wheel of a car, yeah, I don't think the same. You ignored signs with Manziel and Baker. And apparently, based on the traffic violation, Shedeur was avoiding some signs too. The ones that say stop. I feel differently today. I'm not as high on him. I'm not sure he's mature enough.
Shedeur Sanders has been making headlines recently, not just for his impressive performance on the field, but for a controversial traffic violation that's now fueling even more drama. And if you thought the buzz was dying down, think again. Enter Colin Cowherd, who took the opportunity to absolutely roast Shedeur in a way no one saw coming. Cowherd didn't hold back, mocking Shedeur's speed ticket with a jab that went beyond the usual criticism. According to Colin, Shedeur was trying to match the speed at which he's been drafted. He even declared that he has no hopes for Shedeur anymore. The gloves are off, and this feud is heating up. But Colin Cowherd didn't stop at mocking Shedeur Sanders. He went after the fans who support him too. In a bold move, Colin called them out, telling them to go defend him like they do for Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson on Reddit. This wasn't just an opinion being shared. Colin came for everything Shedeur has built over time. His comments went beyond criticism, diving deep into a level of outright disdain for both Shedeur and his fanbase. It was a direct attack, not just on the player, but on the loyalty and support that surrounds him.
100 miles an hour. Yep. All you fanboys, go ahead. Manziel, Baker, Deshaun Watson, defended it to the hilt on your Reddit account. Sorry. Don't minimize it. Don't pander.
Colin Cowherd didn't just stop at tearing down Shedeur Sanders. He completely dismantled everything he had said about him. In a shocking statement, Colin declared that he would actually pick Kenny Pickett over Shedeur Sanders. This move sent shockwaves through the sports community, as Cowherd made it clear that he wasn't just doubting Shedeur's abilities, he was openly choosing another quarterback in his place. The harshness of this comparison only added fuel to the fire of his already intense criticism of both Shedeur and his supporters. But let's just pause for a second and think. Is this the first time Colin Cowherd has gone after Shedeur Sanders? Will he change his opinion on Shedeur once again? If you're thinking yes, you're absolutely right. Colin has pulled stunts on Shedeur's name multiple times before. This isn't new territory for Cowherd, who's made a habit of shifting his stance and stirring up drama for attention. So, while he might be taking his strongest shots now, don't be surprised if the narrative changes once again in the future. It's all part of the game for him. When Shedeur Sanders fell off in the drafts, at the height of the controversy, Colin Cowherd didn't hold back. He openly mocked Deion Sanders, claiming that he had made too much of his son. In Cowherd's eyes, Deion hadn't taught Shedeur humility. Instead, he accused him of cashing in on his son's spotlight. It was a harsh take, one that completely overlooked Shedeur's undeniable skill, his rising status as a quarterback, and the hard work he had put in. Cowherd chose to focus on the family dynamics and media image rather than acknowledging Shedeur's stats, his leadership, and the actual progress he's made on the field.
Okay, let's get to the Shedeur Sanders thing. So, let me tell you something. It's never a bad message to tell your kids, be humble. Humility works in the summer. It works in the fall. Humility works in the spring. Humility works in the winter. Don't gas your kids up too much. It didn't really bother me when they retired Shedeur Sanders' number.
But here's where the contradiction becomes even more glaring. As soon as Shedeur Sanders started making his presence felt during OTAs, Colin Cowherd quickly shifted gears. He began praising Shedeur again, this time declaring that he should be the first pick at the quarterback position for Cleveland. Colin went so far as to call Shedeur one of the best quarterbacks on the Browns roster, putting him ahead of both veteran Joe Flacco and rookie Dillon Gabriel. It's almost as if the same analyst who once doubted Shedeur's abilities was now jumping at the chance to hype him up when he saw him performing well. This rapid flip in narrative shows just how quickly the winds can change in sports media, especially when a player's talent starts speaking for itself. Colin even went as far as saying that Shedeur had the poise, the mechanics, and the football IQ to be Cleveland's first-team quarterback. So how does someone go from being your one guy to a complete write-off over a single speeding ticket? It's almost like the narrative was completely rewritten in a matter of moments.
You wore New York Giant cleats. Remember when he wore the New York Giant cleats? Can we just... Humility's not... I know in society, everybody loves the TikTok watch thing. You know who doesn't apparently love it?
From being criticized and doubted for his mindset, and even his relationship with his father, to suddenly being hailed as the ideal choice for a starting quarterback, the flip is not just surprising, it's baffling. This stark contrast highlights the inconsistency of the media's coverage of players like Shedeur, where one minor setback or off-field event can overshadow the hard work and talent that they've displayed. Browns former coach Eric Manini didn't hold back when he saw Colin Cowherd's severe stance on Shedeur Sanders over a speeding ticket. With a smirk, Manini fired back, saying, "You're selling stock over this? Really?" He went on to reflect on the current quarterback situation in Cleveland, pointing out just how shaky things were looking for them. According to Manini, if anything, Shedeur Sanders is exactly what Cleveland needs, a young, talented, composed quarterback with a high ceiling. You think this speeding ticket is a red flag? For me, this is nothing, Manini said. You don't throw away talent over a late-night traffic mistake. He made it clear that this moment wasn't even close to being a deal-breaker. In fact, he called out Cowherd's overreaction, stressing that the focus should be on Shedeur's talent, not a minor off-field incident. Manini's perspective serves as a reminder that sometimes the media can blow things way out of proportion, while the real story is about a player's ability and potential.
Constant need to extend plays, the unnecessary sacks he took, and you're looking at an offensive line and a team in Cleveland that had one of the worst percentages of sacks given up last season of anybody.
At that time, Colin Cowherd couldn't muster up much of a defense for his earlier harsh stance on Shedeur. Instead, he claimed that he would keep changing his opinion as the conditions changed. He even mentioned that he had already made it clear that he couldn't stay fixed on one thought. He adjusts his views based on the new information that comes in. This was essentially Cowherd's way of justifying his flip-flopping, admitting that his opinions are fluid and subject to change as new developments unfold. While this approach might work in some cases, it also comes off as inconsistent and reactive, leaving fans and critics wondering which version of Cowherd's opinion they should actually take seriously. Colin Cowherd has made a mockery of himself with every flip-flop in his opinion. Each time he changes his stance, it only highlights the inconsistency in his analysis. At this point, it seems inevitable that he will have to change his opinion again to save himself from the backlash he's building up, especially with the kind of hatred he's directed at Shedeur. His words are clearly not holding up over time, and it's becoming increasingly obvious to people. The public can see the glaring contradictions in his commentary, and it's starting to hurt his credibility. Eventually, Colin may have no choice but to turn off his comments section or distance himself from the controversy, as fans continue to call him out for the back-and-forth nature of his opinions, because his comment section is showing him mirror of what he is trying to allege. However, during the most recent OTAs, the tide seemed to turn. As Shedeur started to show his skills and leadership on the field, Cowherd couldn't help but shift his stance. He began singing Shedeur's praises, noting his poise, mechanics, and football IQ. In fact, Cowherd even suggested that Shedeur should be the first quarterback picked for Cleveland, calling him one of the best quarterbacks on their roster. It's clear that Cowherd, seeing Shedeur's potential firsthand, has been quick to jump on the bandwagon now that the young QB's talent is evident. It's a classic case of flip-flopping, where Cowherd's opinions change with the winds of public opinion and performance. As Shedeur proves himself, Cowherd's initial criticisms are being overshadowed by his sudden praise, revealing just how easily some media personalities can pivot when the story shifts in a player's favor. What do you think? Has Colin Cowherd's flip-flopping on Shedeur Sanders been too much? Or is this just the nature of sports commentary? Can we really blame him for changing his opinion as Shedeur proves himself on the field? Or does this constant back and forth make Cowherd's analysis seem unreliable? And here's the big question. Is Shedeur's rise from doubted prospect to praised QB a true testament to his talent, or just a reaction to the media's ever-changing narrative? Let us know your thoughts. Do you think Cowherd will stick with this newfound praise, or will he change his tune again when the next controversy comes along?